This this ZOOMismatics is focused on our March 21 Las Vegas auction, traditionally held in Baltimore, but as we all know, relocation is the key word, the watchword these days, with the pandemic still winding down. Um, you know, many collections, fresh collections especially, of exonumia, tokens, metals, numismatic Americana, as well as great collections of US federal coins are on offer next week and the week after for that matter in our internet only sessions. So, we've been chatting here for a second, James, but I'm Vicken Yegparian, Vice President of Numismatics, and my colleague James McCartney is Senior Numismatist and Cataloger here at Stack's Bowers Galleries. We both work at the New York City office, which we were chattering about a few moments ago.
Yep.
But James, I got into numismatics for those of you who don't know me as a young boy. My oldest brother got me into the game when I was 6, and just really took to it shortly thereafter, and went to A&A summer seminars, every coin show that I could possibly get out to, even skipping school to do so sometimes. Went to college, came out, and here I am at Stack's 21 years later. Stack's Bowers 21 years later. So that's my quick evolution in numismatics. But James, you've been with us close to a decade now. How'd you get into the game?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a quick decade. I mean, like yourself, Vicken, and like many of our collectors watching here, I was a lifelong collector, started out young with Morgan dollars and silver eagles, and gradually progressed through to older US coins, even ancient coins. But we see a lot of incredible pieces here at Stacks, and I'm able now to get excited about so many different series that I never thought that I'd find interest in. And we'll touch upon some of those today. Like Vicken said at the top of the hour, our March 2021 Las Vegas auction, and of course starts bidding next week, is filled with an incredible amount of numismatic Americana and really fresh collections. So we're excited to chat about them.
Yes, we are, James. And before we get that, we already have a question here, which I'll handle. I'll answer. But I just want to remind everyone, I did forget to mention, if there are any lots or questions that you have lots you have questions on that we're not covering today, feel free to email me or James. Our email addresses are up on the screens in front of you. And if we say something that you don't quite understand or want clarification of, use the chat feature, the Q&A feature in Zoom to ping us with a question. And if there's anything that we're not covering today that you need help with, we'll try to answer it on air here. But if we can't answer it on air, we'll definitely follow up with you after we've been able to consider those lots. So our question here is, are you enjoying the new offices in New York City? And I'll say that it's a refreshing change from the old offices. We were there for 67 years, since 1953. I mean, Harvey Stack, who's 90 plus these days, tells of riding shotgun, moving the inventory from West 46th Street, where we were previous to 1953, to the West 57th Street address. And look, we grew into and out, and we've had many renovations over the years, but it's nice to be in a different neighborhood with different offices, with different amenities, and to start fresh in a new space. So I'm very excited about the space. James, what's your take?
Yeah, no, I will echo that. And of course, I've only been here in the New York office for almost 4 years now. So I have less nostalgia about the old office, and I am very much appreciative of our beautiful, big, open, bright space. We certainly, once the pandemic hopefully subsides and people are vaccinated, please come take a visit, schedule an appointment. We'd be glad to show it off. It's really an excellent space right on Park Avenue, 470 Park Avenue, but between 57th and 58th Street. So really just a few blocks to the east of our old location.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely just very close, but different vibe to the neighborhood for sure, and different vibe inside our space. It's I think there's a lot of people who have gone through Stacks in the last 50 or 60, 70 years even, who will miss the old space, the kind of more classic look. The new office has a more sleek and modern feel. So there's going to be people on both sides of the equation what they prefer and what they like better, but. I grew up at 123 West 57th Street, but I also like the new space too. So I'm happy to have experienced both. But with that said, James, we've got a big job ahead of us.
We certainly do, yeah.
I was looking at just the volume of coins and tokens and metals and paper money in the upcoming auction at over 7,000 lots. I think this is one of our biggest ones in a long time, maybe the biggest one focused on U.S. numismatics ever. I did not go into the archive and make a comparison, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's at or near the top. So, in these ZOOMismatics, it's always hard to focus on any one coin and not miss something. So we encourage you to peruse the listings after we part ways here. And keep in mind, if you ever miss one of these sessions and want to follow through, want to see what we've talked about, they'll all be archived on our website. So check it out there. It's been a few months, as you mentioned, since we did a ZOOMismatics, James, and it's nice that the has changed, and we can now talk about something a little bit more broad. The Larry Miller collection is the last thing that we chatted about, which had fantastic individual coins and sets. This time the vibe is a little bit different. We've got lots of smaller, fresh collections to the market, and I think we'll just start at the beginning of the catalog, James. With some of the Indian piece metals, we've sold a lot of those in recent years. We had the Larry Ness collection in our November 2020 auction rather, and that was the best collection that had sold since we sold the Ford collection in 2006, 2007. And Larry was collecting for such a long time, and he was not averse to getting some duplicates, especially of better items. And we do have some of his duplicates on offer here, and a heaping handful from other sources, believe it or not. So I think we have upwards of 20 or exactly 20 silver Indian piece metals. And for those who aren't knowledgeable about Indian piece metals, these were large silver medals, sometimes of different sizes, that were given to various chiefs of different ranks in Indian tribes as a mark of loyalty to whatever government was represented on the medals. James is paging through some of them now. We have several of the British Indian peace medals that range from the Revolutionary War era through the War of 1812 era. And then we have James is paging through some of the silver and bronze restrike Indian peace medals that were produced by the Mint of various presidential administrations. But the one that I'd like to talk about today is actually the last officially distributed Indian peace medal in silver, and that's the large 3-incher of Benjamin Harrison. And I say the 3-inch size just to give you an idea of the heft and largeness of these things. It was impressive to see these around the neck of an Indian. So these aren't a little locket or something. These are large items that would have really shown to the viewer in person the importance of the gift and of the relationship between that chief and the ruling power there. So this one's really special because it's not only the last official medal in silver, but it is also extremely rare. There's only 7 of these in existence. Several of them have gone through our doors, including one, as I mentioned, Larry Ness had some duplicates. This was one of them. He bought this one out of the Ford collection, and then added another one in 2015, which was a discovery medal for us and for numismatics anyway. And we sold that one in November. This one here coming up next week. Just fantastic quality. And whereas if you were looking at some of the medals that James was paging through, a lot of the earlier medals, they got serious wear because they were worn for a long time, even passed down from one generation to the next sometimes. So it's not unusual to find some of the earlier issues of Indian peace medals going back to the early 1800s that are very banged up, worn, beat up. These Benjamin Harrisons, they do show field wear, but they don't show the incredible wear and bad marks that you will get on some of them. So it's appealing not only to the Indian peace medal collector, but just to someone who wants a good looking medal with a lot of history in it. And this is exactly that item. As I mentioned, seven of them documented have survived. 4 of them only are in private hands, that's 3 in institutions. So only 4 that can be actively collected by today's generations of Indian peace medal collectors. fantastic portrait there on the obverse. If you had this medal in hand, you just see how high off the fields the bust of Benjamin Harrison comes. It's just a tour de force of art. And James, I think we were chatting earlier about some of the reverse imagery. Maybe take us a little through that.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, the imagery, like you were saying about the obverse, the imagery is very powerful on both sides. You have, of course, that really regal bust of Harrison on the front, and then on the back, on the reverse, you have. I mean, in today's world, maybe a bit controversial, but you have this depiction of, or this contrast between the Native American lifestyle and then the lifestyle of the white settler, and really, you see that overlapping circle there. This was intended to demonstrate the ideal lifestyle, or the more attractive lifestyle. I mean, in my mind, this goes back to the Washington Seasons Indian peace medals. I mean, something that was produced, almost a century earlier. But you have these very, very strong symbolic messages. Of course, in and of themselves, we have peace up here with the peace pipe and the hatchet, and then progress with the plow down below. So it's certainly an inspiring imagery. And noteworthy, like Vicken was saying, many of these examples show some type of an inscription or engraving in the upper field here on the reverse. And it's noteworthy to say that of the 7 known examples, 6 of them feature some type of inscription here. So this one is, relatively pristine in comparison. You might even say that this is the most pristine, the highest graded example of any of the 7 known. So, if for someone looking for really the pinnacle of preservation for this issue, this one is hard to beat.
Yeah, and it's interesting, James, just looking at this. I'm sure a lot of our viewers would be familiar with the reverse design that's on some of the earlier Indian peace medals, the crossed peace pipe and tomahawk with the legends peace and friendship. Here, the legends have evolved to peace and progress. So it's I think that's what some of the roundels there, the images on the roundels are pointing at. So it's interesting that the wording has changed too over time. And just a great medal, really rare. Larry's primary piece that we sold in November went for $48,000. We're expecting similarly good things for this one. Just don't be shy about the opportunity here. It's years and years and years can go by between sales of a Benjamin Harrison in silver. We're very lucky to have had 2 back-to-back here.
Sure.
That might not be the case moving forward. Half a decade or a decade or more can elapse between auction offerings of really, really rare metals like this. Again, only 4 in private hands. So this work is also, I believe this metal is the work of Charles Barber, and that kind of segues into our next topic, James, the collection of Larry Barber, who focused on the metallic works of William and Charles Barber. So I think I'd love you to tell us a little about Larry and his collecting and his collection and this beautiful gold medal we have up.
Sure. So Larry Barber, of course, is, or the Larry Barber collection is a significant highlight from our March Las Vegas sale. He began his collecting like many of us did, like I myself did, and putting coins in albums, Lincoln cents, and other small coins from change, and from that really grew into a strong, passionate collector. The name Larry Barber, of course, led him to focus on the coinage and medals of the Barbers. William Barber and Charles Barber, of course, are the 5th and 6th chief engravers of the U.S. Mint. Now, William is most well known for his pattern issues, the trade dollar, of course, the 20-cent piece, and then the assay commission medals as well. And then his son, Charles, the 6th engraver, of course, has his eponymous coinage beginning in 1892 through 1916. So, very, very famous engravers he sought to pursue. Larry Barber, the collector, he notes in the biography he provided for the catalog that he often gets called Barber by mistake, and that kind of furthers the point, the relevance of the Barber collection, and it's a mistake I myself made when I was editing our catalog. I thought his name was simply misspelled, but of course we have the Larry Barber collection of Barber coinage and medals. So and among that group, we have a bunch from the Spring Garden Institute in Philadelphia. So a really cool group here.
Yeah, James, I'd love to point out that when I got to Stacks, I really knew nothing about metals, but we handle so many metals, great American metals here that it's become one of my great loves here at Stacks Bowers. That here's a collection composed of metals by famous chief engravers who also designed coins. So that could be an adjunct collecting theme. Say you're collecting, Walking Liberty $50, and you kind of hit the wall there and want to add something to it. You could collect the medals of Weinman, the designer of the Walking Liberty $50, and
Sure.
there are a good handful of medals, or St. Gaudens, or McNeil, or all of these great engravers and sculptors and artists who produced our nation's coinage. Oftentimes had medallic works too. So it could be a collection that augments your collection of U.S. coins as well. And the possibilities are really endless once you get there. There's no PCGS registry or red book or anything of a lot of these things. You're kind of hunting for them on their own. So it's a different kind of collecting and fun in its own right. So as you mentioned, I think William and maybe Charles as well did a bunch of the assay commission medals, and there's actually 20 different assay commission medals in this offering as well. Just staying on the theme of exonumia for just another minute, we have another great collection, over 400 pieces of exonumia coming from the Steve Tompkins collection. Steve is, I'm sure, a very familiar name to many of you participating today. He has standard references on early quarters, early $50. He's working on additional references, but one of his great loves is the collecting of exonumia, especially counterstamps and engraved coins that have stories to them. They're research opportunities to him. And James, as one of our catalogers, I'm sure you can appreciate this, having gone down some rabbit holes yourself.
Absolutely.
These lines. So maybe you can tell us a little about these two pieces that we'll cover real fast.
Sure. So, I mean, in general, I think counterstamps are broadly appealing because of how many different ways you can approach them. I mean, you can approach them thematically. Here we have one by a gunsmith. We see really every industry has a following through counterstamps, which makes it fun. You can collect by the counterstamp, by the host coin. We see people might assemble a full. We have. This gunsmith counterstamp right here is on a 54 arrows seeded quarter. You might try to assemble a full typeset of counterstamped seeded denominations from 54. So a lot of different avenues. Of course, you go back into the colonial period, you have the regulated gold by various New England goldsmiths. I mean, the Brazier, of course, is the most prominent, but the Richardsons and a few others, come to mind as well. But a lot of great flexibility when it comes to approaching a collection of counterstamps. And over the past few sales, we've handled some really great groups from Stephen Tompkins. And he's featured a wide range of categories: gunsmiths, clockmakers. I mean, really, you name it. And there's a counterstamp out there. So a broadly appealing category. As I mentioned, this one's on a 54 arrow seeded quarter. Another really cool lot from him is this one here, lot 7360. In our March Las Vegas auction. This really has many layers to discuss. So it is a Peruvian 8 reals that has been overstruck with a Philippines counterstamp and is now engraved on the back. So a lot of different ways to approach this depending on your collecting specialty.
Yeah, this coin I thought was really cool, James, because it's literally gone halfway around the world. I mean, it started in Peru in the 1820s or 1830s, made a trip of over 10,000 miles across the Pacific to the Philippines, was countermarked there with the Y2 for Isabella II countermark, revaluation mark. That's in the mid 1830s. And then somehow persists and ends up in the pocket of some American servicemen, probably around the time of the Spanish-American War, and is used as a host to engrave that beautiful image of that ship that was damaged in a typhoon and had to be scuttled. So just so many angles to the history of the piece, and just the whole almost circumnavigation of the globe there is just fascinating to me. Um,
Sure, and I mean, for me, this type of engraving, this type of imagery, I mean, might be most familiar if you're not if you're not a numismatic Americana collector, an exonumia collector. You know, this type of engraving, this style evokes the buffalo, rather the hobo nickels that we would see, you know, prominent around the 20s and the era of the Great Depression. I mean, a similar type of style, and you know, just another example of an esoteric category that you know, is eagerly pursued. I'm sure we have a good amount in our March Las Vegas auction as well.
yeah, and the great thing about these is so many of these engraved pieces, each one is unique. I mean, there's
Sure.
often not more than one of the same design or initials or message. So
Mm.
so moving on to more straight coins, James. We've got a great piece of Massachusetts
We
silver.
do, yes.
Today. We've got over 100 lots of colonial coins from Massachusetts through circa 1800 of all different types and eras. Tell us a little about this one.
Sure. So, I mean, this, you know, this is really a standout example of the oak tree shilling. I mean, if you're not familiar with Massachusetts silver and colonial coinage, it probably doesn't look like much at first, but to a specialist or someone who's assembling a typeset of Massachusetts silver, this one really can't be beat, or it would be very hard to beat this. I mean, the production quality is really superior for this issue. You have excellent centering on both sides, really, really strong definition to the oak tree right in the middle here that is typically pretty weak. So this is really a standout example. It was considered possibly the finest known. There is one other coin, the Hain family collection, that is graded just slightly finer by PCGS, but the more subjective qualities of this, the centering, the strike, you know, really rank it as the top, if not one of the top examples. It has a storied provenance. It's passed through the hands of some of the most prominent collectors. You know, you have Carl Wurzbach, you have T. James Clark, FCC Boyd, of course, and then most recently John J. Ford. So these are all, you know, some of the most famous numismatists of the 19th and 20th centuries, and you know, their ownership really testifies to the superior quality here.
Yeah, exactly, James. I was just talking to one of my clients just the other day, and he said, "Well, is the Ford pedigree, does that command a premium?" I said, "Look, does it command a premium? Hard question to answer. It's by buying a Ford coin, basically you're getting a great coin. So does it command a premium? In as much as you're probably getting one of the best possible examples of that particular issue, whether it's a medal, a piece of paper money, a piece of Massachusetts silver. So yeah, maybe it does bring a premium, but there's so many Ford coins that you can't put a percentage on it over what a quote unquote normal coin would bring. But by buying the Ford pedigree, you're going to get a good looking thing, which we can't say with every one of our collections for sure. So moving way into the future here, James, we've
Sure,
got
we're moving, you know, almost 300 years into the future now, but you know, a bit of a different category, but still no less important.
Yeah, I mean, this collection kind of floored me when it came through, and I was actually able to view all the lots in hand. And it's one thing to look at them in a catalog or online in photos, online photos, but the Washington Rainbows collection is just fantastic. It's a complete set of Washington quarters, the silver issues anyway, 32 to 64, and it's the number one all-time greatest PCGS registry set of that series in those years. The current number one as well. So just fantastic. And as you can see, there's no question why the name Washington Rainbows
Sure.
I think most of them have at least a little bit of toning or a lot of toning, as we'll see, except a couple notable examples. I think the first two on the screen there are the 32D and S, which are mostly bright white. Not too many toned ones of those that might have been available for sale when this collection was being formed, and the collector worked on this for a good 2 decades with the able assistance of David Schweitz, who's a dealer who's no stranger to high-end condition rarities. James, maybe you'd like to take us through some of these coins and some of the stats on the collection. It's really something to behold and think about.
Yeah, I mean, this is, Washington quarters, for something that you can still find in pocket change, is on at face value is not necessarily the most exciting, but these are really, we're talking about the finest known, and of course it's subjective, but even some of the most attractive examples, I mean, I have ever seen. Of course, in any set of Washington quarters, the 32D and the 32S are usually the highlights, the standouts, and some of the only ones to really get excited about. And while, yes, I mean, they are quite impressive in this collection, and in the Washington Rainbows collection, the 32D and 32S are both graded 66 by PCGS, both at the very top of the populations. In and of themselves, they are incredible rarities, but when paired with the rest of the collection, it becomes all the more impressive for the color. Of course, the collector did not hide it by naming his collection the Washington Rainbows collection, but all these were picked with an emphasis on incredible toning, and of course, incredible preservation to match. One of my favorites here is the 1948, just had the big true view up here on the screen. This one is graded MS68 plus by PCGS with a CAC sticker. It is the sole finest graded by PCGS. So, but in a quantifiable sense, it is the finest available, the sole finest available, and virtually unbeatable. But in an aesthetic sense, it is just captivating. I mean, the color is so absolutely vibrant. I mean, we certainly do a great job in capturing the color in our images, but seeing it in hand is just astonishing. So a lot of I think there are 83 coins in the collection, and something like 26 of them have been graded MS68 or MS68 plus, which just shows the incredible preservation. The 52S is another really, really beautiful piece. You have this strong luster showing through on the obverse and rich, deep color on the borders on both sides. Also, a top pop example. 8 graded, 0 finer at PCGS and CAC. And then, rounding out in the final year of this set, we have another 64D. This one's also MS68 PCGS with a CAC sticker. Beautiful, beautiful coin. We definitely compel you to take a look at these in hand if you happen to be in Vegas at the auction.
Yeah, I mean, James, the 26 pieces and 68 or 68 plus is incredible, especially when you compare it against the number of total pieces that PCGS has graded at that level. I think just 125 pieces of all dates have graded at lofty level. So this collection has fully a fifth of those 68s in that will fall under the auctioneer's hammer next week. So if you're a collector of Washington quarters or just need one super coin for your typeset, this is the time to pounce. And this coin, James and I have a funny story about the 64D quarter. We'll pass the cover design around just to make sure that everything checks out. This coin ended up on the cover, and I'm left scratching my head. Why is there a 64D quarter on the cover of our catalog? Because it's a 700 million were produced. You can buy a really nice one for $50 or $10 for that matter. But this coin is just incredible. And once I dove in and understood what it was and understood the entire collection a little bit better, which I hadn't seen in hand at that point, it all made sense. I mean, just an incredible piece. And I'm not sure how many more times we'll be able to feature a 64D quarter on the cover.
Sure. Yeah,
so it's always cool to have a coin that's been a cover coin in your collection. So that's an added reason to bid on that. the finest 64D quarter that's been graded for sure, and just fantastic coins and a great opportunity, as I said.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think again, really exceptional coin. Vicken is a little bit more of a purist than me, but we finally settled that, you know, though it's dated 64, the merits, the preservation, the eye appeal, you know, earned it a spot right here on the cover.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, right, the Washington Rainbows collection, very very important collection, one of the highlights of our March sale. But we also have a lot of excellent half dollars in the sale. You know, we have a number of collections of half dollars. The Iron Eagle collection, I know the Buy My Way collection has a bunch, and then most notably the Richard Jewell collection of cap bust half dollars. So let's jump up in denomination here. I just wanted to show you a real quick coin from the Richard Jewell collection. This one is, you know, we're looking at 150 years before the quarter we just looked at was struck. We have this half dollar here. This one's a 27/6 Overton 103 MS64 by PCGS with a CAC sticker. So really, you know, the quality is the key word here. Beautiful original patina, strong detail, smooth surfaces. It is ranked second known from these dies, the second finest known from the Overton 103 dies. A very, very important coin, whether you are just a 19th century type collector or you're a half dollar specialist. You know, this coin right here, and then numerous others also from the Richard Jewell collection are going to be something you're going to want on your radar.
Yeah, we've sold so many of Rich's coins and medals for that matter over the years. We sold his $3 gold pieces under the A&R banner back in 05. Awesome coins, all gems, you know, from the beginning to the end, and the quality continues with these bust halves, and in the seated halves that we sold back in 2013, I believe, from Rich's collection. So you know, he's really passionate about numismatics. So the quality that you see here is almost is unmistakable, and you could bid blind on any of his coins and end up with a great piece, just because he was not shy about getting good pieces, even if you had to pay up for them, which is what we often have to do with super coins like this. And I think in hand it's even more vibrant. You know, the toning is deep, and sometimes the light just doesn't catch it the right way. I think that the blues in hand and that lovely silver gray is just so much more luminescent in hand, and that frosty luster. So just one of many great half dollars, as you said, James.
Yeah, so we are coming up on a half an hour now. Let's finish up with some gold, shall we?
Yeah, so lots of great gold in this collection. You know, more $5 gold pieces, half eagles from the Fairmont collection. Lots of great gold dollars through $20 gold pieces and territorials from a variety of sources. This one is a beautiful, just crusty old copper toned piece from the Silas Stanley Roberts collection, and that name doesn't mean anything to anybody yet, but it's a collection that was put together chiefly in the first half of the 20th century. You know, he was born in the 1880s, I believe, and passed away in 1966. And this collection has been held by the family since then, enjoyed by the family. Now 4 generations removed, and it's being sold by the great grandchildren of the original collector. But it's an old time kind of expansive collection. It ranges, you know, half cents through gold, sets and partial sets of many of the important series. I think the only things not represented in a great meaningful way are some of the gold denominations, but there are partial sets of $5 gold pieces and $20 gold pieces. In fact, all of the gold and all of the silver dollars are here in this auction, in our March auction. As I said, it goes through half cents through gold. The collection, the second half will be offered in our June auction. That'll be the half cents through the half dollars. So this was a really fun collection, James, to go through, and you saw it when it came in.
Yeah.
You know, all of it was in Waite Raymond boards or other you know, coin folders or coin albums from the 30s to 50s era. in 2x2 envelopes, etc. So it was like a little treasure hunt. You open up a 2x2, you'd open up an album, and you'd find $200 coins next to $20,000 coins. So it was
Sure.
fun. It was you never knew what you were gonna have in that next on that next album page. And this one, this 1842D half eagle rather, AE50 PCGS. It's not the most expensive coin in the group, but I just thought it was one of the prettiest coins in an era and in a market that really values originality and eye appeal. I thought that this one was a great piece to feature today as a representative from the Roberts collection. So take a look. There's many hundreds of coins from this collection on offer in the March sale. So whether you're looking for a silver dollar or Morgan dollar to fill in a hole, or just want a nice type 1812 or something $5 gold piece, there's something there for you. So take a look there. Take a look next month too, or next auction, I should say. June 2021 is when the second half will be. So James, we're mindful of people's time. We are appreciative of everyone joining us out of their busy week. Friday as we head into the weekend, and we've covered a lot of ground here. But as I said, if anyone has any specific questions or needs help on any specific lots or sections of the auction, feel free to reach out to James, jm@stacks.com, or me, vy@stacks.com, or any of your favorite specialists at Stacks Bowers, so that they can help out and with any of the decision making you need. We recognize that getting around is a little more difficult these days, and if you might have gone to the Baltimore show or otherwise participated in lot viewing and can't now, we'll try to bridge the gap as best as possible. So that offer stands for when we come out of this pandemic too. So don't ever hesitate to call on us. So I'm not sure if anyone out there has any questions, which we're happy to field here. And if we don't see anything come through in the next few seconds, we'll call it a day. Hope everyone enjoys their weekend. And again, bid in next week's auction. It goes all the way through April 1, I believe. That's our last session, the internet only session. So it's a long affair to get through 7,000 plus lots.
We have a lot of lots, and definitely something for everyone. I also want to note that we have another Zoom seminar next Monday covering the Rarities Night session. So the Rarities Night takes place on Thursday, the 25th, I believe. But some really excellent coins there. Of course, there's the 1822 half eagle from Pogue. You have the incredible 1797 half dollar from the Pogue collection, and a bunch of really incredible coins. So if you want to hear about those,
just some minor things I was saying.
Oh yeah, just some forgettable coins. But yeah, Vicken and I will be right back here on Zoom on Monday at the same time, 2 o'clock. If you want to hear about those. So
2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Yep, that's the catalog for next week. I don't see any questions here, James. So I think that's it for today, and we'll rejoin everyone on Monday.
Cool. Thank you everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Vicken, thanks for your time.